Buddy, it's Teddy with Mayco, and we are going to learn how to do this really cute skeleton mug. Okay, I'm going to get it as close as I can. I hope you can see it. Check out how the skeleton is all broken up, and he's holding a funky little pumpkin, and I'll explain some of this to you. I always like to show the good, the bad, and the ugly when you're doing a project. Okay, and I thought this was kind of funny. See, where is it? Okay, see this right here? I got a little bit of cobblestone on there, and I just didn't clean it up because I'm lazy and whatever. But doesn't it look like he kind of poofed a little bit of skeleton dust? Oh, so anyway, this is one of the easiest projects to do. It's pretty much fail proof. And I just played around with some things on here. So let's talk about what you're going to need. Whatever piece of bisque you want. I'm going to demonstrate how to do this on a tile. It's easy, it's flat, it's not a big deal. You're going to want white cobblestone. What is that? SG-202. And I used on the pumpkin just a dab of SC-75 orange peel and SC-26 green thumb. Just a tiny bit. You don't use much at all. The other thing that you're going to want is we're going to put the cobblestone in a Rider bottle. Now, I save my empty stroke and coat bottles, and what's really cool is you can buy these tips that will fit on a 2-ounce, an 8-ounce, and a pint, because all of the openings on the bottles are the same size. So this will fit on all of your bottles. And it's got a nice little plastic cap to keep it airtight when you're not using it. So I poured cobblestone into an empty stroke and coat bottle. If you don't ever buy the 2-ounce bottles, what you can do, and this is in our Creative Tools magazine, but you can also go to Mayco's website under Creative Tools and find all the wonderful accessories. So can you see, I gotta get that lined up. Look at that. You've got the tips, the Rider bottle tips that you can add on. There's empty Rider bottles, the style that you want, and little bitty metal tips. Okay, so there's a lot of accessories that you can buy to have on hand depending on what you're working with. So this tip, when I did mine, is I did not put the little metal tip on it. But you can if you want to for finer lines. So what you would do is you can buy the little metal tips. It just screws right on top of the lid for fine lines. I'm going to do mine without the tip on it. Practice with it, figure out how you like it best. There's more than one way to get to the finish line, right? So it's always how it works for you. So what I'm going to do next is we're going to lightly sketch on a skeleton. So what I did is I just Googled the cartoon skeleton and came up with a design that I liked, which is more like this, where he's kind of has some movement to him. So I'm just going to lightly sketch this out. I forgot to tell you, I base coat my tile with black foundations glaze. I always base coat with foundations because it flows on so easy. It dries very fast compared to, let's say, stroke and coat because of the way it's formulated, and it's not quite as thick. So I put 3 good coats on using a soft fan brush, my best friend. Okay, let it dry until the shine is off. You can see there's still a couple little damp spots. No worries. So I'm going to sketch out a skeleton, and then I just did little circles for the spine. And I'm just trying to give myself a little lines to kind of follow, all right? And I want him with his hand up, a little pumpkin. It doesn't have to be great. So if you create a pattern, they can trace it on with clay carbon paper. Or if you have some little talented customers, they can just sketch on some lines. It's just giving you something to follow, all right? Dim boom, dim boom, dim, the booms. I need to look this up. Anybody know exactly how many rib bones we have? Because I did 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 little lines, but we're going to double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know why 7. All right, and then we need to have the hip bone connected to the thigh bone. I think that's the pelvis. Looks like I drew a boy. Okay, so you kind of got the bone at the top, and this comes down to the joint, and then you got another little joint. All right, so it's an easy fix. Create your own pattern, not that hard. Okay, you guys, if I can figure it out, those of you that are in the life can do it really fast. All right, so I have it basically just lightly sketched on, right? Now I'm going to take my cobblestone that is already in my little bottle. I just took my cobblestone glaze, shook it up really good, because a lot of times when it's brand new, there's a little bit of water head on it. You just want to make sure it's all mixed up nice and good. Pour it into your bottle. Shake it up with the lid on, unlike what I just did. Hey, did you guys ever have a customer that you say, make sure you shake the bottle, and the lid is off at this, and they do that, and I swear, I used to find it on the ceiling, on the walls, and you're just like, I can't say what I'm thinking right now. Anyway, that was a little side note. I digress. So I'm going to say on my skeleton that I want to have a bit of a face. So what you're going to do now is you're just going to, and I'm barely squeezing, okay? Now, one reason I really like using a bottle is because the biggest problem people make is not applying on enough cobblestone. So you can see I just left black and then a funky little mouth. And then I can do dots for the spine. Just going to do a quick line. So it's going on thick enough that you don't have to go over this twice. We did another project, which I might do in the next couple months, using cobblestone in a bottle. Every single person, it was a success. It was perfect. Okay, because of the fact that we could get the glaze on thick enough by using a bottle. All right, and there's a little bitty kind of a nub here. And then I'll go up this way. And then he's going to be holding a pumpkin. Now my pumpkin really wasn't that good because I was just playing with it. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave some eyes. Ooh. Because I'm on the vertical, it ran a little bit. If you're laying it down, that's not going to happen, okay? So let me let that set up for a moment, and I'm going to show you. So on my pumpkin, I thought, oh, I'm just going to leave some black lines, and I'm not, turn it the right way, loving it the way it came out. But because this is a sample, and like I said, I like to show you the good, the bad, the ugly, this gives you an idea if you don't fill it all in or create a face. So to change the color of the cobblestone, once the shine was off of this and it's set up a little bit, then you just take one coat with the brush, and I used my round filler, and apply one coat of stroke and coat over the cobblestone, and it changes the color. Cobblestone is a really cool glaze. If you've not used it before, it is meant to break up like a cobblestone street. You can see how it's not smooth like I filled it out. This is what I found the most interesting. So when the chemical engineers create glaze, they always take into consideration the contracting and expanding of the clay body, especially when it's going through the firing process. And the best analogy is if you think about it when you're baking, and you look inside the oven when it's really hot, things are bubbling, gases are bursting through. sauce is spitting, you know, and glaze does kind of sometimes spit a little bit. But there's a lot of this expanding. It's like this big, huge dish in there, and then once it cools down, it contracts again. That's what's going on with your bisque and your glaze. So, in order to have the glaze stick to the clay body, the ceramic engineers make sure that it fits. Well, cobblestone is intentionally manufactured so that it doesn't fit properly during the expanding and contracting. And that's what gives us all the wonderful little breakup on this, which I think is just too darn cute for skeletons. So you could have little skeletons dancing across anything you want. You can change the color if you want to. I almost put a black cat on here with black cobblestone, but I ran out of motivation. But that is something that you could try, is black on black with the cobblestone. So anyway, I just wanted to let that sit for a minute so that it wouldn't run again. I'm going to show you now by putting the little tip on here the difference on how much comes out, okay? I always try to keep a pin, the pin that comes with, I took it out of my designer liner, so that it doesn't clog up in there. Okay, can you guys see good? Okay. So I'm going to squeeze it out, give the little nub on the end. I'm sure the joints, not nubs. I should know this by now. As many knee surgeries and stuff I've had. All right, so you see I can actually kind of control it a little bit better. But what I like is it's still on there thick enough that you only need one coat. I'm going to look and see if there's any questions. I don't see any. Okay. So that's how you can create this, is put the cobblestone into a Rider bottle, put a little tip on it, squeeze out your glaze. The areas that you want to be black, just don't put any glaze on it. And you have one of the cutest dancing skeletons ever. Now, also notice that I put the design low enough that my mouth is not going to be where the cobblestone is, because we don't put earthenware in the dishwasher, and so it can't be completely sanitized. You want to put cobblestone on non-food surfaces, so I wouldn't put this design on the center of a plate. It would be good on the rim of a plate or outside of a bowl, or like here on the outside of a mug, where my mouth is not going to incur the textured glaze. Well, if you have any questions, just write it down. I hope this gives you a fun inspiration on some different cobblestone effects that you can use in your studio. You could easily send this out with directions for a to-go kit, kids workshop, because it's pretty easy and it's going to look good, and just your walk-in customer. All right, I'm Teddy with Mayco. We'll be back next week to inspire you and give you some ideas. And I would love to see some of the projects that you complete. Post it on my on this Facebook page, Mayco Creative Studios. Adios, everybody.